Hello, 大家好, I'm Sue Marguerite. Thank you for joining me here on my little Cantonese corner. Today I'm talking about the differences between the Yale and the Jyutping romanization systems and finding out which one is the right system for you. Because learning Chinese and learning Cantonese is challenging enough without having the added stress of using a system that may not resonate with you or may not be a good fit for you. Okay, so let's find out for you which one makes more sense. So number one, I've got written down, big picture, use it. Okay, Yale is, okay, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love the Yale system. I'm a very big picture person. I don't really get into the details. So if you're a big picture person and you don't get into the details, Yale might be for you. Jyutping is very detail oriented. The history behind it is that Yale was devised in the 60s and by a gentleman from Yale University in the States, an American guy and a Chinese guy working together to come up with a system that, although not perfect, is able to be immediately recognizable to English speakers and something that can help them to just get started in speaking Cantonese. Jyutping came along in 1993 as an answer to Yale for those who desired something more precise. You only need to know that this was a couple of guys who got together and pounded out Yale. This Jyutping is devised from the Hong Kong Linguistic Society. So if right away you hear the word linguistic and you think, like I do, that's another big clue. Do you like the big picture or do you like details? You're going to go for one or the other based on that. Okay? Again, I've got here use it and admire it. In my opinion, Yale is a tool. There are some drawbacks to Yale, inconsistencies for sure. Like some of the letters that you'll see being used share pronunciation, so you have to know that. Whereas Jyutping takes care of it. They're very proud of the fact that they can write anything they want in the correct pronunciation using possibly letter combinations that you may not expect. Case in point, the J for a Y, even though they have the Y here. So Jyutping takes care of that. So if that's going to be a problem for you, then Jyutping is definitely going to be for you. If you want to make sure that you can write anything you want very precisely and you have it straight in your mind, that would be a very good indication for Jyutping. If you're like me and it's like, well, hey, in English you've got the hard C and the soft C. I mean, you've got cake, which is k, and you've got city, which is s, and they both share the letter C, but you just know that for some words it's going to be pronounced this way and for others it's going to be that way. We're using Yale as a tool to get us speaking Cantonese and then possibly learning characters. I feel sometimes that Jyutping is a very admired system for how precise and beautiful it is, that it can actually take spoken Cantonese and get it in an absolute perfect written form using English letters. But here's a little secret. No one communicates in Yale or Jyutping. Even if I am writing to friends of mine in Hong Kong and I'm just lazy or I don't know the character, I'll just write it in my own kind of phonetic system. It's not like I'm using Yale and they're going to be like, oh yes, Yale, I recognize that immediately. No one, no native speaker is learning this or this unless they're using it to teach Cantonese or they're a linguistic student or they're just super interested in how Cantonese can be written in a romanization form. Okay, so number two, moving on. Letters used in familiar ways. I think I've pretty much covered this, right? In Yale, you'll see letters used in familiar ways. It's immediately recognizable and you can start having a go at it. Whereas letters are more accurate in the Jyutping system. And like I said before, if that interests you, then Jyutping might be your system. Also too, if you are familiar with IPA, or if you have learned Mandarin before, and you're used to kind of like the X and the C and the Z being used in different ways, then Jyutping might be more familiar to you, and therefore you might like it better. It might be easier for you to learn Cantonese using this system. Okay, moving on. Number three, this is the big one for me. Yale uses tone marks, whereas Jyutping uses the numbers to denote the tones. For me, as you know from my videos, I like to move my hands a lot, and I like to do that mid-rising, the low falling, the high tone, the low tone. And that's what you'll see mirrored in Yale. You actually have the tone mark going up, have the tone marks going down. Whereas for Jyutping, they're using numbers. Numbers don't do it for me. I'm not a numbers person, but if you are and you like numbers and you don't mind the fact that you see a word and there's a number stuck at the end of it, that might be for you. But for me, I can't imagine, for example, teaching the number 9, gao, that mid-rising gao, and saying like gao, and like writing the 2 or something for that mid-rising tone. I just 2 and 9 automatically doesn't really make sense to me. But if it does to you, then Jyutping is your system. Okay, if not, Yale is awesome for those of us who like to use that kind of those markers to help us remember the tones. Okay, number 4, old and outdated or modern and more popular. A lot of people nowadays say that Jyutping is so much more popular, and why would you learn Yale? It's outdated. Well, I for one am really glad we have a choice. But having said that, most online resources these days, online dictionaries and chat rooms, you will find people using Jyutping. So that's a question to ask yourself. Do you mind doing the bulk of your learning in Yale? That resonates more with you, it's more intuitive, and for those, the small amount of time that you're using an online resource, you are just having to do the conversion or deal with Jyutping. Or are you somebody that wants to use the most popular thing, you're online a lot, you're using the online dictionary, and you don't want to have to muddle the mind up with 2 different systems, then you might want to consider Jyutping. Even though some of these other points might not exactly be for you, this might trump them all. So I hope that this gave you a bit more insight into the systems themselves, as well as help you decide which one is going to be right for you. Okay, thank you so much for joining me here. Again, my name is Sue Marguerite. This is Cantonese Corner. If you like what you see, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again here on my little Cantonese Corner. Bye!